Hey everybody, welcome to Dad Talk Today. We are live in Tampa, Florida at Turning Point USA, and I am sitting here beside Officer Brandon Tatum. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me on.
Hey Brandon, man, dude, this excites me so much. You're one of the people that I was really wanting to reach out to. I've seen this stuff that you talk about fatherhood, and we're trying to make fatherhood great again.
Oh, great.
You know, the fatherless epidemic that's going around this country, it's out of proportion, and you know, I was looking back at Father's Day. I saw you talking about what your father meant to you and the lessons that he instilled in you. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here without my dad. You know, my dad is an incredible inspiration in my life, you know, not just verbally, you know, not him just saying things or, you know, the actions that he took, but just his presence, you know, having the man that looks like me be a living example of what I can be. And so I'd say without my dad, you know, I wouldn't be here. You know, I'd probably be a lost young man with anger issues and not really being held accountable.
Now, are you a father now?
Yeah, I am. I have 2 children.
What's being a father mean to you?
Oh man, it's incredible. I mean, I have a huge responsibility in creating an environment where my children can be the next generation or the future generation of great people. And my children love me, you know, especially my oldest son. You know, my 5-month-old. I think he loves me. You know, he can't say it right now, but my 10-year-old for sure, man, he loves me. I just took him to the MLB All-Star game. We had a good father-son weekend. It's incredible. You know I mean a lot to him. I see a lot that what I do rub off on him. You know, I walk left, he go left. You know, I could see him mimicking his father, and he looks just like me. So,
you know, I'm sure being a dad is probably the most important thing and best thing that you've ever done.
It's a great accomplishment.
And what we see a lot too and hear a lot is a lot of these dads become fathers and then they're kept out of their children's lives, you know, through the family court system, because child support incentives and all that. So, you know, we're looking at a change in the law. How can we change it? So good dads who want to be dads, how do they stay in their kids' lives?
That's an incredible conversation to have, because I think that the system does hurt fathers more so. I mean, people think that when you see a single mom, that it's a dad that was a deadbeat that just walked away. And I would argue in probably 60% of those situations is because the laws are geared towards mom. My oldest son is in that situation because I had a child out of wedlock when I was 23 years old. We weren't married, and she has all the rights.
Yep. Even
to this day, I'm trying to give him an opportunity I'm pay for him to go to private school, whatever, but I have to wait on her permission to do that, and I think that that's not right. And child support too. You know, when I was a police officer, I was barely making ends meet. Yeah. You know, I had to go check the check because I had to pay child support out the wazoo, and they did not care how much I was making. They don't care. And those things really hurt fathers. And especially, and I'm not saying this is my situation, but I know of situations where the mother is incredibly toxic, and they use the kids against the father, and at some point dads get burnt out, and they say, well, you know what, I'm gonna go start another family and I'll be fine. I have to back away from the situation, and it really hurts young children. And so we need to work on that too. It's not just saying, daddy, get up off your butt and go be a father. It's like, okay, moms, let him be a father as well, and have that child the father be involved in his life, because it's not about you.
That's right.
It's about the child, and that child needs his father, whether you like the daddy or not. You know, y'all didn't work out, but you still need the father in the child's life. Men do need to step up and be an example too. You can't just, it's not just owed to you. You need to be a good example.
You know, Brandon, there's another part of that, you being a police officer. You know, I know a lot of times these dads have custody of their children, and when it's time for the kids to come over with dad, mom won't let them see them. You call the police are told to stay out of these situations. Yep. But here's dad saying, hey, I want my kid, she's not giving me my kid. And a lot of times nothing happens. Did you have to respond to some of those calls?
All the time. It was you know, me being a dad and then having my son in a similar situation. It was infuriating as a cop. You see a dad giving the effort every weekend. It's my parenting time, and mom is just doing whatever, and we have to say, well, look, we can't enforce these laws. You know, we'll document that mom did this or whatever, and then the judge, what does the judge do? Nothing. They won't do nothing. So it's incredibly frustrating, because you see fathers in these positions and they give up. And a lot of times I don't blame them to a certain degree, because at the end of the day, man, you got to have a life. Some fathers go their whole life, and the mama never quit.
Yeah.
Kid 18, 19 years old, mama still being a problem, and the dad goes, and then the kid go off with their life, and dad has sacrificed everything and got nothing out of it. So I understand that sentiment, but I will say push through it, pray about it.
That's right.
I stayed in my son's life. He's 11 now. It wasn't always easy. It's still not easy. It is incredibly difficult at times, but I say, you know what? he need me more than and then it's stress. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I do it anyway.
That's right, and so we have that narrative of the deadbeat dad, and that's what people think of when they think of dads and the single moms. But you know, divorce just reached up to $60 billion. It's a $60 billion industry, and I tell people all the time, if these guys were actually deadbeats and didn't want anything to do with their kids, you wouldn't have that $60 billion. They're treating our kids like a product, and they know that dads are going to pay because they want to see their children.
I've been paying child support since my son was 3 months old. Never missed a payment. Never argue about a single dime of it, even though I didn't want to do it. In some cases, I felt like it was too much, but I still paid. They still take taxes out of the payment every year, and it's like that's why they want you to do it.
That's right.
That's why they have this number that it doesn't matter. You know, if you make more money as a father, you pay more.
Right.
The kid doesn't need more, you pay more, and that's very difficult for fathers, especially if you become very successful. They can gouge you, man, and they don't hold mom accountable at all. Good women will hold themselves accountable and be reasonable, but those who want to take advantage of it, they take advantage of it. It is a money-making industry for the government. They want you to go through the system, have fathers on child support, make them pay. They go to prison if they don't pay. If they become successful, good for the government. They get this much more tax money on the back end. So our system is messed up.
It is.
It is. It's not conducive, because what it does is it gives some women, and it's not all just women. You know, men need to. You shouldn't be messing around unless you're married.
No.
That'll give you a good step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But it incentivizes some women to say, you know what? I don't have to work on a relationship with you. I don't want to be with you. I'll leave you, and you will pay me with this kid, and I'll go and be single or have another man. But I don't need to be with you. I don't have to fight for this relationship. A man has more incentive to fight for it, and it may end up being the wrong reason because he don't want to pay. But women don't have to fight for the relationships anymore, and I think that's why people break up so easily, and why people get so distraught. But I like to place the blame on the man ultimately, because men need to step up, and do our part.
Oh, absolutely.
However, the system is broken.
Oh, it is. And we're not just fighting the laws or the legislation right here. We're really fighting a culture war. When we talk about the deadbeat dads or the guys that don't want to pay child support, they're out there. We're not, but those moms are out there that are the same exact way, but we have kind of painted them as one size fits all with these dads, and the good ones that are fighting are kind of getting left behind. How do we change that narrative, Brandon, from the deadbeat dad to showing them that dads are actually fighting, the ones like you, the ones like me, that are actually getting out there and trying, that aren't being gave a chance?
Yeah, I think that we just got to keep speaking out. We got to keep being examples for our children, and hopefully we help the generation overcome that, right? So my expectation is that my two sons don't be in the same situation I was in, right? Get married, have a child with somebody you love, like my marriage now. Me and my wife had our newborn baby, and inspire more men to be in that situation. Therefore, you can change the visible experiences that people have with dads. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
If we start changing where more dads are involved, more men are getting married, more men are staying in the household, that statistic, that visible you could say example, will change people's minds. If you start seeing it degrade, like all these fathers not being in the household, it feeds into the narrative and it creates the environment where people start to believe it. But we do have to speak out about it too. Hopefully we can get legislation passed. I have no idea where to go. It's like, it's very difficult because my situation is my fault. I wasn't married when I had a baby. But fathers who get divorced, that situation, if they weren't the reason they got divorced, that situation is incredibly difficult. And, it's hard to give, it's almost a no-winning thing.
So just to give you an idea on the legislative efforts that we've been putting forth, Kentucky passed 50-50 legislation back in 2018 that says upon divorce, or even if you're not married, you break up, dad would have equal custody to mom. Unless there's a reason that they shouldn't, because there's going to be times that they shouldn't. In the first year that legislation was in, domestic violence went down 30%. Now, I tell everybody, did domestic violence go down or the allegation? Because the allegations are used inside a family court all the time.
Oh, yeah, I was a cop. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
You mad at dad, you go, oh, he beat me. And we would literally, they get a restraining order. And somehow the judge gives them the right. Dad is at the house. We have to come and say, you have to leave the house.
Right.
She got a restraining order against you. You got to leave the house. We serve him at the house. We didn't want to do it, but we had to. He said, I got to go to work in the morning. We're clearly late. We're sleeping in the same bed. What are you talking about? We like, you got to go to court. The accusations are out of control. I have a friend right now that literally his child's mom is coercing the children into lying to judges and everybody about him being abusive. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw his son tell me and him that I lied, Dad. I'm sorry. I don't know how to get out of this. Yeah. Mom is coercing me when we go and talk to the attorneys, and he is getting screwed over. Attorneys are not believing him. He has evidence of this being a coerced lie. It is out of control to me.
But family court is not about the truth. No. Family court it's a winner-take-all sort of system. You have unethical family law attorneys who know this is going on and they push it anyway because they want to win. It's not about what's best for the child. It's about winner takes all. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
And what's the consequences for the accuser?
Nothing.
It should be perjury.
Nothing.
There should be some type of consequences. If I make an accusation that can ruin someone's life, you would think there would be something on the hook there, but it's the way to get that upper hand. And that's what I said with that legislation in Kentucky. We see the good results. Arkansas passed this same legislation earlier this year. Here in the state of Florida, they had this legislation went all the way through the House and the Senate, 2016 and 2018. The night before, the family law bar made a donation, and it got vetoed. Vetoed not once but twice, and it kind of shows you, like, I know where I stand with my political views and all that, but we've got some people in office, that are just as much to blame. You know, we got it's time now that reasonable people come into office need to change these laws around child custody and all of these different things. You know, most people are normal together. You know, there's examples where parents shouldn't see kids or something, but I'm telling you, women in this country have the ability to weaponize the children.
Man, they do.
They make any accusation against you, and the courts believe it. Like I said, the young lady made an accusation about my friend, and they did an emergency custody order. And he went through a whole year where he played the game. He went through counseling and everything. The counselor said there's nothing wrong with the guy. There should be no obstruction. He get the kids back. They visiting. She gets mad again and make another accusation.
No questions asked.
No question asked. Immediately, he can't see the kids for 3 months.
I've said it, from the very beginning. Men are guilty until proven innocent, and she is innocent until proven guilty.
Oh, she never get proven guilty. Even if she lies, they just go on. Oh, okay, you can see the kids now. But no, she need to go to prison.
That's right.
For lying, perjury, coercion.
That's right.
Abuse, child abuse, abusing the children.
Yeah.
And it happens so often, and people don't know about it. But when I was a cop, it's the same way. You go to a house and the woman and say, "Oh, he beat the kids. He abusive. He does this," and it's like you have no evidence.
Yeah.
You have no evidence. They got the kids crying, and mommy loves you. Daddy doesn't love you anymore.
Right.
I'm not saying that this is most women, but it happens a lot. And it's not being addressed.
It's not, man. And from now, I've been warning people from now until the end of the year. I've seen it. I've seen the projects. There's movies, there's books, and everything coming out about the fatherless issue. But it's coming out as in dad is a deadbeat and doesn't want anything to do with his kid. This is the angle that nobody wants to touch, and it is one of the major parts of this. The family law courts are biased, and so these guys are fighting. We talk about the fatherless issue. Let them have their kids. We're seeing the consequences that are going on in this nation. If we do not put our families back together, guys, we're doomed.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I would start with the responsibility from the young man.
Yeah.
Get married.
Yeah.
Don't have children out of wedlock. Get married. That lessens your opportunity, or lessens the fallout of having to deal with the system and the unfair treatment of parental control. So get married first. Marry somebody that you love and that appreciates you and that you have a good relationship with, and then have children. That'll help you to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men, my friend was included, that's why he's going through what he's going through. He had 2 kids with a woman he wasn't married to. I wasn't married. And we are experiencing this biased exposure, but could we have controlled it at the beginning? And the answer is yes. If we just take responsibility and say, you know what, I should have been married. I shouldn't have had a child with this person, because we didn't get along before we had a kid, Some people they fall out later, but I think for young men, give yourself an opportunity, put yourself in the best position possible as we try to change these things. Don't put yourself behind the 8 ball, I think that's one thing where I would try to encourage young men, but it's very hard, man, because society tells you you should be able to play and have sex and do whatever you want to do. They don't talk to you about the consequences. It's like rap music and going to prison. oh, it's cool going to prison. I did time in prison. They don't tell you guys getting raped in prison. They don't tell you, you lose a family in prison. My cousin did. He got 70 years in prison, but he's doing 15. Nobody talks to him. I try to communicate with him. I haven't talked to him in about a year. And I was writing him every week. And it's like, when you go to prison, nobody talks to you about that. They're not talking about people not writing you and losing your family and going crazy and potentially getting raped and having to join a gang. And same thing about having children out of wedlock. They don't talk to you about child support and manipulative parents and stuff like that. So I hope young men will be inspired to say, you know what, I'm going to think twice and try to do the right thing and get married. And that'll give me a better opportunity to not get put into the system. Because in Arizona, it's 50-50 if you're married.
Right.
You're married, you automatically get 50-50 custody. Now, you know mama say you're an abusive man, that's why she divorced you, and then you have to go through that. But it's 50-50. If you're not married, you get no custodial rights.
Yeah.
And I was on my son's birth certificate. We lived together. When we broke up, man, it was like, Dad, I don't know what to tell you. Mom is gone with the wind. She moved out of the state. Thank God I fought through it. I kept being in my son's life, even though it was hard.
And we all make mistakes. We're human, but I think we go through these things for a reason. It is up to us. We know what's going on. We've got to warn the next generation.
Yes, we do.
And here at Turning Point, seeing these kids, I was actually shocked. I thought a lot of this generation probably didn't know. We talked to some amazing young men today that made me look stupid. Like sitting next to him, I was like, okay, this makes my heart swell with pride because they get it.
Yep.
They get it, and that's how we can provide the solution. We got to get out here to our youth.
And I think
100%.
it's really important too that we recognize with our young men that there is a double standard. There's a double standard within family court. Like you're saying, if you're a woman and you get pregnant and you have this baby, you have all the control in the world. You do not if you're a man. So we're trying to change these laws, advocate for more equality in family court, what's best for kids anyway. But understand, you men out there, there is a double standard that you have to work within.
So understand that when you play the game, it's not going to be fair. So put yourself in the best position possible.
That's right, guys. Make smart decisions. Brandon, brother, thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Hey, tell everybody where they can keep up with you.
The Officer Tatum. You just go to The Officer Tatum on everything. You can put it in the Google, or if you do DuckDuckGo, whichever search engine you want to do, you put The Officer Tatum or Officer Tatum in there, you'll find everything that I do. I have a book coming out in November about policing. It's called Beating Black and Blue. This shirt right here, I have an e-commerce store, so we sell this shirt on my e-commerce store, online websites. I mean, I got it all. You can go to The Officer Tatum, you get it, all things Tatum.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.